But look,
hat.
Now it goes with. Now I have a shirt to go with it.
Oh. Yay. That's the wrong sportsing that you have on right now.
Well, this is like my only real sportsing t-shirt or sportsing shirt. So I'm not a football person. I don't really care about football. So I was like, well, I guess I should wear some sort of sportsing thing. So I decided to wear my Golden Misfits, Las Vegas Golden Knights t-shirt, hacky. And it just happens to go with my hat.
I'm not a big sportsing person either, but that's not even the same type of sport.
Yeah, whatever, sports. People doing stuff, getting sweaty, whatever.
Fair enough.
Making things go through goals and whatnot.
Making points.
Throw
the ball, score the thing. Understood.
What?
I actually like really good sportsing games. Like I like the Super Bowl. I generally like the Super Bowl just because it's real competitive, especially if it's two really good teams. So I like watching that kind of thing.
I like to play sports. I played sports all growing up. I played rugby on the women's rugby team at Oregon State University. Like I played some sports. But I just don't, generally, I'm not so much into watching sports on TV. I like the spectacle of like watching the Super Bowl with a crowd of people where you get to like eat good food, hang out with fun people, watch funny commercials, like all that stuff I can get on board with. But generally, I think it's pretty boring. So that's all.
And I'm from Rhode Island, so you kind of have to like the Patriots. If nothing else, if I'm going to be a bandwagon fan, I have to bandwagon for like my home teams.
Yeah, I suppose so. Susie Beach likes her some sweaty men's.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys, so we had the show on early today. This is our Sunday live haul show. Normally we have it at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time. Today we are trying to be nice and considerate because we know some of you guys that like to participate live. Obviously, we get most of our views after the live show, but a good number of you like to watch this live and you got stuff you want to do. You got parties you want to go to. So we should be able to wrap this up at least an hour before kickoff time.
Because it's going to take half an hour for us to get across town.
Yeah.
We're going to go watch the game.
We're doing this for the people, not for ourselves. Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, if you want to live in your selfish little world where you don't share Skittles and whatnot. Yeah. Anyway. No, but we really did want to make sure that everybody that wanted to watch live could, and then hopefully if you're going somewhere, you've got an hour to get there before kickoff. So
exactly. So Cheryl, did I know that you were born in Massachusetts? I don't think I knew that.
No. I feel like we didn't know that. See, Susie knows we are givers. We are givers.
Such givers. I've been cooking chili all morning. Went and simmering on the stove now to take with us.
Smells like chili, guys. It's really good too because she put some jalapenos in it, so it's nice and spicy.
Some jalapenos,
so it's super spicy. So pretty cool. So I noticed in the chat that people were talking about a couple of things. They were talking about the sourcing video. I actually got the sourcing video up this morning. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I was taking pictures all day long.
It's a several day process.
Yes. I'm trying to get better at doing sourcing videos and getting them up. So I at least got it up before the show. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and watch that video. It just is us sourcing on Thursday, getting the stuff that we're going to be sharing today. And then also I noticed that people were talking about their phones and taking pictures with their phones, because I did put up, as I've been promising for a couple weeks now, I put up a little demo video of our ring light, as well as our pull down projection screen that we're using as a backdrop. And so I was finally able to do a little demo video of that. And I kept it pretty short.
For you,
it's like short. It's like 15 minutes long. Can you believe it?
I don't even
know. Guys,
how did you manage?
I did a 15-minute long video. And what's funny is I actually realized afterwards, the one thing I didn't really show in that video is me actually taking the pictures. Like I did like a picture, like you can see like from my point of view, like because I show the settings on my camera, but there's no shot from the side of me like where I stand as in relation to the ring light. I mean, you can kind of figure it out from watching the video, but just to make it explicitly clear, I'm standing behind the ring light. So it's a big ring like this big, and the screen's in front of me, and then the ring light, and then I'm behind that, and I kind of hold my camera right in the middle of the ring light. Like literally sometimes I'm even a couple inches through the ring light. So just to give you guys an idea. But if you haven't watched that yet, I put the link in the description of this video. Go ahead and watch it. I have a link there to a picture album that shows the pictures I've taken with the ring light, so you can kind of see the quality. And I show how to set up the settings on your camera if you're using an Android, specifically a Samsung, but the concept's the same for other cameras. Anyway, that's my little spiel.
Except neither of us are real familiar with iPhones, so unfortunately, sorry. I'm sure there are plenty of videos out there in the interwebs telling you how to take photos with your iPhone.
And I know the iPhone, as far as I know, it's like an auto or whatever. Bottom line is, auto settings are great. You're never going to get as good of a picture with auto settings as you can when you manipulate it yourself and go into pro settings. Any photographer, there's no professional photographer out there who's just like, I'm going to put my camera on auto and take these product pictures.
Yeah.
Like it, so whatever. Anyway, guys, what's up?
Not much. Got lots of stuff.
How do you feel about your sales this week?
Sales
is it just me, or is it like we are back in the spring summer of 2018?
I feel like it's April or May all over again. Seriously. So if you're having great sales this week, awesome. I am really happy for you. Seriously. But no, my sales have been terrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible again. And I am listing.
Terrible.
I'm listing a lot. I'm working hard. So generally, January is a really good sales month for me. It's always pretty darn close to December, and mine was cut more than 50% in sales for January.
Yeah.
And I know we're in February now, but I'm talking, up until a couple of days ago. It's still terrible.
It's hard to say. And you know what? You always see those posts in different Facebook groups where pretty much every single day it'll be somebody saying like, my sales are super slow. What about you guys? And you're gonna have like half the people are gonna be like, me too. And it's like, oh, camaraderie. But then the other half of people will be like, my sales are great. So it's really hard to say like what are trends and what are just anecdotal, because I mean, like my sales haven't been great this week, but and there's always like a million different things you could point to. You could say, well, with the whole weather thing that's been going on around the country, like maybe people, I mean, part of that's like, well, maybe they're stuck inside and they're doing some online shopping.
I had one good day this week where I was like, ooh, yeah, polar vortex shopping.
Or maybe they're missing work and they don't have the money to spend, or
they lost
other
a lot
expenses
of work with the government shutdown, or
So it's really hard to tell with trends. I don't know. It's just really impossible. But I will say that our sales haven't been great, and that's the reality. And that's part of us doing the whole numbers breakdown every week, is that even when it's painful for us to share like that we're struggling, we're going to share that, because we're not going to just sit here and be like, hey, here's how awesome everything is. Look how great this is. And here's the highlights of what we sold this week. No, we're going to give you the reality, the whole picture, so that you can see what it's like for full-time resellers who are doing this to support themselves, and how it, whatever, what the reality is.
Rebecca asked a question: do YouTube videos help sales? No.
Because
we do this to teach and to share, hopefully share our little bit of knowledge with people that want to learn and want to get better in their business. This does not pay any bills for us. YouTube clearly does generate a little bit of income. It has nothing to do with sales, though. I've never once seen a sale from these YouTube videos. The only people that watch these videos are 99% other resellers, and they're not buying from me.
Yeah.
Or from Katie. So YouTube doesn't generate sales. We have a couple of affiliate links that we use. Again, I don't think we've seen a dime from any of those yet. So
a little bit, but it's pretty small. And
under $5.
So I think this month it's going to be a little bit more as far as the affiliate stuff, because people are buying like the screens and the light and stuff, which, because we have affiliate links for the stuff that we use. And so with affiliate, I don't know if you know anything about like the affiliate stuff with Amazon. Basically, if somebody goes to those links and buys stuff, we get like a small percentage, but it really is the stuff that we're using. Right. And as far as YouTube goes, our audience is other sellers, and we're not selling anything to you guys. We're just giving knowledge for free. We do get, because we have ad revenue and stuff like that, but it literally comes out to like a few $100s a month. So it's basically making it so that we are able to give our time like this, because we could be working, we could be doing listing. So it's like a small amount to help kind of offset that cost of our lost time. So even the videos showing the clothing and hauls and things like that. No, I've actually sold one item to another reseller. I think Katie has sold one item as well. That I sold fairly inexpensively to that I had shown in one of our haul videos. So now, if your YouTube channel was all about selling, you know, like let's say vintage streetwear, like stuff I like to source. And I had a channel, and every week it was all about like, here's all the things that I found this week, and these are all for sale. And my audience was specifically people who buy and collect vintage streetwear, then yeah, maybe I would be able to make sales off that. Same thing goes for Instagram. There's Instagram channels that are specifically to sell like streetwear. I'm saying streetwear because it is a really, it's a large trend, popular genre, popular category, and there are tons of Instagram accounts out there that specifically for selling streetwear. That's not what I do with my channel, although I do have another channel just for my store that I am very lackluster on keeping updated. I need to get back into that. So Thrifty Christie says she's watching our she's watching our thrifting video. Heard ka-ching.
Cha-ching. She sold something while she was watching the video.
Oh, I like to think that we're a good luck charm then. But
for other people.
Super chat, super chat. She's super chatty. Yeah. Don't spill your soda. And don't spit it out your nose.
Oh, weirdo.
You're a weirdo. Anyway, guys, all right, let's get into our numbers. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Ugh. They're both horrible.
How about we do mine first, and then yours will look better by comparison.
Slightly better? All right, let's go.
All right, guys, we're going to show our numbers real quick. This is for week ending February 2nd, which was yesterday. My numbers are slightly up from last week, but still, basically last week was like a crappy weekend. This week is like an okay weekend. Only it's for the whole week, so that's not great.
Yeah, mine's an okay weekend for the whole week.
Okay, so I had 20 sales on eBay and 4 sales on Etsy for a total of 24 items going out. eBay, my gross was $870.45. Etsy, it was $233. So Etsy's quite a bit better this week than it was. Like last week, it was literally like $88. So my total gross sales are $1,103.45. So up a couple $100 from last week. That's really sad. My shipping, $123.83. My promoted listing fees between eBay and Etsy, pretty high, $106.33. I swear pretty much every single thing I sold on eBay this week was promoted listings. My total fees, including those promoted listing fees, $238.44. My cost of goods, not too high, $108. And then my total net sales, $633.18. So I'm telling you guys, pretty rough.
Ugh,
pretty rough. Pretty rough.
Terrible.
Average sale price, $45.98. So my average sale price is down a little bit. So yeah, I will say I had shown on Friday's show that I had discovered that with promoted listings on Etsy where you pay per click, like half of my money was going to pay for clicks on these stupid vintage Tommy Hilfiger shorts that were not selling, that only are for sale for $35.99. Like I literally in the last month had spent like $100 on promoting this one pair of shorts, and they were not leading to any other sales. So I turned those off, and in the last 3 days, my promoted listing fees have been cut in half. So that's a good thing.
Emily asking a question. So sorry to nerd out, but is this cash basis? No, we are matching cost of goods with the items.
With this particularly, yes. I'm
not talking that this is not exactly how we do our accounting as far as for tax purposes. This is to let you guys know this is cost of goods specific to these items.
Yeah, specific to the items that were sold. So I spent a heck of a lot more than $108 when we went sourcing on Thursday. So
yeah. And Susie Beach, where are your eBay fees? They're right here when we do total fees. So it's promoted listing, and then it has eBay and PayPal plus promoted listing fees are where the total are.
So now I'm not going and getting like exact fees. What I'm doing is I'm taking this number right here, this $1,103.45. I'm multiplying it by 0.12. So basically I'm taking 12% of that. So it's kind of ballpark. That's taking into account eBay's fees, PayPal fees, Etsy payment processing. So actually that's probably a tiny bit high because eBay's fees are a little lower. Etsy's are lower. So that's that plus, so I just do the whole total times times 0.12.
It's within $5 to $10 every time we do it.
Yeah.
And where we pull the cost of goods, Emily, I just add up what I paid for each item in my head or using my calculator. So
yeah, we know generally like what it is that we pay for stuff. So.
I know almost exactly what I pay for everything.
Yeah.
So
all right, so go ahead with yours.
So mine is not much better. So week ending as of yesterday. So I had 45 eBay sales and only one Etsy sale. My Etsy has been quiet. Sorry. So eBay gross sales, $14.83 and change. Etsy, one sale, $69.95. For total sales, $15.53.86. My shipping, $296 total. Again, I sell a lot of hard goods, so my shipping is always going to be higher than Katie's, and I do free shipping on everything. So my shipping is a direct subtraction from that gross number that you're seeing there. Promoted listing on eBay. And my total fees, again, I do the same thing as Katie. I multiply my total sales amount by 12%. And then my cost of goods, $140, which is pretty standard for me. I'm usually almost at least 10 times everything. And then my total net sales, just about $900 for the week.
Horrible.
Oh, and my average sale price was $33.78. Last week it was $50. So it was much better last week than this week. I've gone down a lot.
So that is the reality of what our numbers are for the week. So now we can go in and show the highlight of our sales. Because seriously, guys, we could show the same types of highlights of our sales every week, and you would have no idea if we grossed $200 or $1,000. So we just want to put this in context, because otherwise all the rest of it's meaningless.
It's true.
Yep. All right, guys.
Because if you thought every single sale was as good as the highlights that we show, then
oh yeah, because I got some good highlights, guys.
And yesterday I sold 7 things and I didn't break $100. So it happens.
Yeesh. Yeah, so we got we're gonna go ahead and show our sales highlights. Pretty much I think I've got everything I sold up on mine. Just kidding. It sure feels like it.
Sheila, I do not use trending rates on promoted listing. I believe Katie does.
I do. I use trending rates on eBay, yes. The only thing I do higher than trending rates is on my vinyl records. I actually do higher than that because I price them quite a bit higher. And
I actually use like 5.3% is usually what I use. So between 5 and 7%. But right now I think I'm running everything at like 5.3% on eBay.
Yeah. I'll take any little boost I can get. So, all right. So you want to go ahead and show what our sales were?
Sure.
Sales highlights?
Sure.
We will start with you, madam.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Okay, so this was not an enormous sale or anything like that, but it was free. So this was given to me from my friends Derek and Amber. It was in their garage.
You sourced it right out of their garage.
Sourced it right out of their garage. I didn't pay anything for it. They used it once. She hated it, and I sold it for $69.97. It shipped to California. It only cost me $12 to ship.
Nice. Always love it when you get free stuff you can sell. All right. So this one, not a huge sale, but guys, do you remember this? I think I just shared it last week.
Yeah.
I think I just shared it last week. I went back and forth with the buyer. I think I ended up selling this for $34. I mean, look at this. This is worn. It's faded. But it's a really cool vintage planetary moons t-shirt. This kind of stuff, man, it's sold quick. But 34 bucks for a used raggedy worn out t-shirt. 34 bucks, guys.
Whoop whoop
whoop whoop. Susie remembers.
So I sold this for the price that you see here. I sourced this. I paid $5 for it, and I believe I got it at the Silverton garage sale.
No, you actually got this at the swap meet.
Was it the swap meet? Okay, so I paid $5 at the swap meet then. Sorry, I knew what I paid. I couldn't remember where it was from, but attitude adjuster. It was just so bada bing, bada boom. It says Mexico, but it looked so much like it should be an Italian person wearing this jacket, because this reminds me of everybody from the East Coast. How do you feel about the apostrophe placement? I mean, I guess technically if it's like okay. If it's just one old boys social club, but what if there's multiple old boys? It's questionable. It's questionable. Okay, but anyway, I thought it was fun. I don't know what's happening in this picture though. I don't know. Right? You're getting a little crazy. See, there's more than one old boy there. I don't know. It is pretty amazing. It is a pretty amazing jacket. It took a while to sell. I mean, it did take a while to sell. So long. But it sold for $69.97. It weighed less than a pound because it's a satin bomber jacket. Weighs next to nothing. Yeah.
All right. So this one, another t-shirt sale. This is from that big that big bulk buy I bought off a guy from a Facebook group. He sent me a ton of vintage t-shirts. I love this one. It's actually from a bike ride. This is a apple cider century. If you guys do any bike riding,
I remember you talking about this
100-mile ride. There were a whole bunch of them. This one's pretty cool. This one actually, there was somebody, I can't remember who it was, that asked, maybe it was Sunny, that asked me to say if something goes internationally or not. This t-shirt actually went to the Netherlands. I took an offer for $30 and went to the Netherlands, so they paid for shipping. So I think they paid 14 something for shipping, so it was under 8 ounces, but it cost me like maybe $10 at the most. So I made another $4 off of it and saved on shipping. So actually I probably made more than I would have had I sold it to somebody domestically. So seriously, I love those international sales. Plus I get to say I sent something to the Netherlands. Woohoo!
I haven't had that many international sales this week. Only a few.
Neither have I.
So this also was free because my lovely Dana actually sourced this at some point over the last couple weeks and gave it to me.
Why didn't she want to sell it?
Because she doesn't like selling hard goods ever.
I see.
So it was listed less than a week. It sold for that price, $55.97. I don't know how much she paid for it. I'm assuming it was just a couple of bucks. Listen, there is a good market for vintage massaging items.
Yeah. So Diana wants to know if I put in my listing the t-shirt is very worn. Yeah, usually if it's just in good condition, like I'll put good used condition. And I know technically the word good is subjective, but I don't, what am I supposed to say? Pretty much any way you describe it is going to be subjective unless you say no holes, whatever. So what I usually say is if it's just fine, I'll say in good used condition. And I think my pictures are pretty representative of what it looks like. If it is a bit worn, I will say, particularly, let's say it's a 30-year t-shirt, I'll say normal wear and fading, which just basically means like, hey, it's a worn shirt, like it's worn out, it's faded, it's an old shirt. If it has holes, if it has stains, then I'll actually say those things. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, Sandra, quote, massager. Yes.
Yep.
Hey, it worked. Basically, I will just plug it in and see if the electrical works on something like that, and that's it.
Shane wants to know if you get many returns on hard goods.
I don't actually, here and there, but I definitely have, the majority of my returns are definitely on clothing. And I have taken off free returns on my items, and my returns have dropped down to a very, very normal, maybe one a month.
Yeah.
Which before I was getting a half a dozen a week at least. Yeah. So.
All right, so this is my next sale. Not a huge sale, but I only had this listed for a few days and it sold for $41.99. And the reason I think this is noteworthy is because it's the Gap. I mean, I think I just wanted people to know, like, hey, yeah, there's basic brands out there. Just because it's just a Gap item doesn't mean it's not going to sell, because it's vintage. And not only because it's vintage, but also because of what it is. It's this really nice heavy cardigan sweater, and cardigans are super popular right now. And so I don't know, maybe I could have priced it for higher and gotten a little bit more, but I don't mind a quick sale, and I probably wouldn't have gotten much more than this, even if I was able to get a little bit more. So $42 and only having to have it listed for a couple of days, I think it's a great sale. So yeah.
Vintage Gap does sell. If it's the older vintage Gap stuff, it sells. If it's something that's good quality classics.
No, it depends on what it is, though.
Yeah,
I don't
you
just
have
buy
to know.
anything.
I know. Like certain types of sweaters sell, certain types of jackets sell.
Yeah.
Exactly, Emily. It's that vintage kind of early preppy look from the 80s and 90s. That sells.
See, and this is where it gets really tough, like having like BOLO lists and brands and stuff
like that. Right. It's not you have to just have an eye to kind of know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, next for you. Whoa! Now we're getting down and dirty, guys.
I'm sensing a theme this week. Polar vortex. People are stuck in their house. They're a little bored. I don't know.
I don't know. Yep. I don't know how they think this is getting delivered to them during the polar vortex, but whatever.
Hey, it sold for what you see there.
Yep. Ridiculous.
It was plastic attachment, so it's slightly yellowed because it's plastic, and that type of plastic tends to yellow over years just from age. Key Lime Kisses the tooth chipper massager.
But listen, Mama had her EV221, and it did her good for a lot of years, and then it finally died, and she had to find a replacement.
Valentine's
you always
coming
stick
up.
with the classics.
Kara Cooper, the granddaddy of personal massages. Hey, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I bought this for $10 at an estate sale a couple weeks ago. Again, this was listed about a week. I think I listed them around the same time.
Yeah.
And they both sold the same week.
So Sheila says, I have a hard time figuring out if something is vintage. You know, it's hard to say what the hard and fast rules are because there really aren't any. But it just depends. I mean, a lot of times with these boxes, the box itself will have a date on it, and see how there's like materials in here. I guarantee you.
Well, that was definitely dated. Yeah.
Well, of course, I guarantee you somewhere on the paperwork on the box, there's probably a year on it. But you know, there's no real rules about it. But anyway, okay. So
as a matter of fact, Emily, I do wipe everything down with Clorox wipes because I'm not touching it otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, good question, but yes, I do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sell any other type. It's just, let me be clear. Don't be picking up anything at the adult store that's used. That stuff, vintage stuff, has a certain allure for collectors and fetishists. So vintage stuff like that sells very well. I'm not saying go and buy a rabbit that somebody bought last week and you find somewhere in a bin or something, or a garage sale.
Would you say you turn and burn that kind of stuff?
Yeah, literally burn it. Literally burn it.
Anyway, okay, so next up for me is this Derby of San Francisco wool overcoat. Now, this I had shown in a haul. Maybe I've had it up for what, like a month and a half, 2 months maybe. There's a different style of the Derby of San Francisco. They're kind of like these bomber jackets that sell really, really, really well. This jacket took a little bit longer because of the style, but I did take an offer for $100. It was going to California, so I knew it was going to be super, super cheap to ship it, compared to like if I had to send it to New York or something. What just happened? I just internalize a sneeze.
Sorry, I was trying to not sneeze.
Bless you.
Sorry, guys.
You don't do that. Your head will explode. Anyway, so I was able to sell this for $100. Just took a little bit longer. Had it been that other style of jacket, it's more of like a bomber style. Look up Derby of San Francisco on eBay and look at the solds, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Those ones go really, really fast. This one took just a little bit longer. It's still a good sale. All right, next one for you.
This one took a long time to sell. So just for an example, I haven't had this mannequin in over a year. So I don't know why it took so long to sell. I think it was just because it was so tiny. It's been one of my favorite tiki dresses that I picked up well over a year ago. Again, and this is something that vintage clothing sometimes will sit a lot longer than trendy clothing because it is going to take some time to find the right buyer. But believe in your product. Like, this dress is gorgeous. I love this dress. If I were tiny, I would wear this. So it did take quite a while to sell. I ended up taking an offer for $75 just because I had had it so long. Yeah.
Board Up is wanting to know how much money we make monthly by doing this. Well, it's hard to say monthly. I will say that each of us, our gross sales for each of us in the last year was just under 100,000.
Right. We each did 100,000 a piece.
Gross.
Last year, gross.
Almost 200,000 gross. And then probably net of that is probably about 60%. But then that's not taking into account all the other costs, like the overhead costs. That's just taking into account like your basic costs. So yeah, so we make let's say we make a living.
Yeah.
All right, next one for me. Now, this was a really awesome sale I was excited about when we went and did the estate sales a couple of weeks ago. This is actually when we ran into Barry Afro Vintage on Instagram. We had gone into this estate sale and we went to 3 different estate sales. 2 of them, I didn't find anything that was worth getting for me. This third one, all of their jackets and stuff were like $6 or $7 a piece. And I grabbed this jacket. And then I also grabbed a sweater. I think I showed these in a haul. And the sweater says 1990 national champions as well. And I sold this. I don't even think it was up for 12 hours, and somebody made an offer on it for 100. Now, sometimes that will happen, and what I think it is they're just not quite. It took them like a day to pay, so maybe they're just not quite ready to pay, but they want to make sure they get it. And so they'll offer just a couple of dollars over whatever the price is, or they're confused and they don't realize that it's not an auction. But I honestly think in this case, the guy just wanted to hold it and make sure he got it, and then could pay me later. Because then you don't have to do immediate pay if you do it as an offer. So. But it only took them like 24 hours to pay, $100. How awesome is that? And you have said in the past that you didn't even think UNLV stuff was worth picking up. And now how do you feel about it?
I'm gonna look at some good vintage UNLV.
And I just took the pictures of the sweater I got as well, so I'm gonna be listing that in the next couple of days. So who knows? Maybe the same guy will get it, because that was
you
an
never
awesome
know.
sale. All right, so
this is one that I talked about in a haul video that I was super excited about, and I actually thought I was going to sell this for more. The reality is that once Dana and I took a hard look at it closely when she was doing some photography for it, I realized that there was some discoloration around the hem. It actually had some staining, mildew from storage probably. But I absolutely love this dress. I think I could have held out for a little bit more, but I ended up taking an offer for $100, and it sold here in Las Vegas to a woman that actually buys vintage clothing for people specifically. So I think she's the middle buyer.
Yeah.
So I love this dress, but I paid like $8 for it, $8 or $9 for it, and I sold it for $100, and it was listed for like a week and a half. So I didn't have a problem taking that offer because it had damage on it. I think I would have sold it for more if it hadn't had any damage. I would not have accepted that offer. But again, sales were so slow this week that I also was like, all right, I'm taking it.
Yeah, so they're talking more over in the chat. Board was asking more questions about what we're doing, but yeah, so we make a living doing this, but I will say James is right that we put a lot of hours into it. When it comes to this kind of selling model where we are having to go out and we are thrifting, one of a kind items, one-offs, we have good ROIs, but I'd say we each probably work like 60 to 70 hours a week doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely put a lot of time into it because we're not wholesaling, we're not
it's all one-offs.
We're not buying pallets. We're not, shipping it in somewhere.
But for 2 six-figure incomes gross, for selling one-offs and doing this with just the two of us, I think it's pretty, I think we do pretty well for what we do, but we work very hard.
Yeah. So
there's definitely easier ways to make money, but we love what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next for me, we're going to head on over to Etsy. And Etsy still isn't showing what items sell for. I don't know what's up with that. But this is an Obermeyer down ski jacket. It's an 80s ski jacket. I love this thing. I like the vintage Obermeyer stuff. I think I've talked about it before, but the vintage stuff does sell. And again, down pretty much always like kind of increases the value of whatever it is that you're selling. And so this is like just a really cool red puffy jacket. Let me go ahead and we're going to use Flipper Tools, because I want to make sure you guys know about this tool. It is free. Josh Newell, who actually created Fit Shipper, also created Flipper Tools. So I always like to give him a little plug because I think this is an awesome website to be able to look at.
He is a box member as well.
Yep. So as you can see here, so this is how, if you're doing research and you want to see how much something on Etsy sold for, or on eBay if it was sold through best offer. So this sold for $80 plus shipping, but the shipping was free. So I was able to send it cubic priority. So $79.99. I sold that for $80 on Etsy. So I was pretty stoked about that. I had this up for a while, but
you actually didn't have it that long. I remember you.
Yeah, maybe just a few months.
It up.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so next one for you.
I think I saw one Etsy sale this week.
I think I saw Dana talking about this in the chat. Here, we're gonna go ahead and look at real quick. What did it sell for? And okay, there, $70. Tell us about this magical $70 beanie hat.
Nothing magical about it. It cost me $2. It cost me $2. I bought it at Savers. It was clearly unworn and new. It was just mint flat. It could barely stretch out enough to put it on the mannequin's head.
What made you think that you could ask for $70 for this?
It's the brand. It's a ski brand.
Okay.
And I looked it up, saw that it was made in the USA, saw that it was vintage, and I looked up. I think I went with the highest price hat that had ever.
How long did you have it listed?
Sold? A month, maybe. I don't even know. Ask Dana. How long is it listed? Maybe a month.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. Matthew says watching these videos have helped me keep up with the trends. Let me tell you, you want to be like watching different sellers and seeing what they do. I know all the time I hear Vicky like looking at stuff on Instagram and being like, I've never even heard of this brand before. And it'll be something that she'd never heard of. And then it's like one more thing that she knows to buy now. So yeah, so no matter how many years you've been doing this, there's always going to be brands, there's always going to be stuff that comes up that you never thought to source before. And you know,
yeah, I watch definitely a lot of other resellers. I don't watch a ton of YouTube. There are a few that I follow on YouTube, but I scroll Instagram at least a couple of times a day, and I learn a lot from Instagrammers, just people that are putting up products and brands and things that I never would have heard of. I learn every day something different and something new to look for.
Yeah.
And there's a thing about people that sell on Posh, specifically, that are very trendy and sell specific brand specific, trendy current clothing. That's not something I know a lot about. And that's what I learned the most from people on Instagram. I follow a lot of Posh sellers on Instagram for that knowledge, because it's not something that I'm not super trendy. I'm 43 flipping years old, and I have never set foot in Anthropologie.
So Board Up, I sell only men's clothing, a lot of vintage, especially streetwear stuff, and Vicky sells everything, hard goods, clothing, whatever. The only really thing, like, guiding factor is that we both want to buy and sell stuff at a higher average sale price. So we just look for stuff that we can buy for a decent price and sell for quite a bit more. All right, so the last thing I have to show is this Atlanta Braves baseball jersey. Vintage 90s. Let's see what it actually sold for. We're gonna plug it in over here, and I sold it for $70. It says plus shipping. I do free shipping, so $70 with free shipping for a jersey. I mean, I had this listed. It's been up for a couple of months. It was a little bit cheaper on eBay, so I got a good price for it. But yeah, so.
Yeah, self-destruct. I do realize Poshmark isn't just for young brands. I don't have a misconception about that. But what I have found is that the young Instagrammers that I follow are much better geared toward their knowledge of the newer, trendier brands than I am.
Yes.
So
there are a lot of Poshmark sellers who are super into trendy stuff. And so they're just like good people to follow to kind of keep up with.
Yeah,
things.
I follow certain Poshers that are much younger than I am, that definitely have a knowledge and a grasp on current trends way more than I do. So that's where I glean a lot of my knowledge right there. So the people that I sell to are probably the same demographic as the people that watch our show. The majority of our demographic is the age bracket 30 to 55.
Yeah.
That is more than 50% of our viewership, and that's probably a lot of the people that I sell to as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can be doing research. So following people like Allison Big Drip Thrift on Instagram, people who are doing really well buying and selling higher end brands. Also, like I've said before, I belong to a few Facebook groups that are just for mostly young guys who are thrifting streetwear, and they're posting stuff that they found for their own collections, and you're going to get a really good idea based on people's responses. If somebody's like, yo, look what I copped today at the thrift, and then nobody is responding, and it's like they get maybe one thumbs up, or they show something that they found and like you see that there's like 100 comments and people are freaking out and asking them how much they'll sell it to them for. It's like just a really good way to like get an idea of like, oh wow, this is something that's super super popular and people want a lot. Also, like I've been doing movie soundtracks, so like there's different record labels out there who put out specifically like horror and sci-fi soundtracks, and so like I follow their Instagram, and there'll be something that they're releasing the next day, and again it's a matter of what's the response. Is everybody freaking out about it? If there's different variants, is there one particular variant that like 90% of the people are like, I want to get that one? Well, that's the one you want to buy a couple of, so that when they're sold out, you're making some money on it.
Board Up has another question, and then we can get to doing more of our show. But drop shipping is no longer allowed on eBay. It is allowed if you have a relationship with certain suppliers.
Yes.
You cannot sell something that you do not have a concrete relationship to supply the product with a supplier. You cannot sell something that you don't physically have in your possession. You can't say, I'm going to sell this for X, and then I'm going to go buy it on Walmart and ship it to my buyer.
It's the key part of it. Yeah, the key part of it is you don't have ownership of it. You don't have an agreement, and you're having the other company ship directly to your buyer without that company's knowledge. Now, if I wanted to have a 5 to 10 day handling time, and I want to sell something that sells on Amazon, and then I purchase it, it's shipped to me, I get it, then I send it out to my buyer. Technically, that's okay. I still think that's kind of that would be kind of a not great way, because what happens when it goes out of stock? It's tricky. But yeah, drop shipping, you want to have a relationship with
Yeah, and if you think that
supplier.
you can, you can make a living doing that and not screw up your account, then by all means, there are plenty of YouTubers and Instagrammers and people that will tell you how to do that and make money.
There are a lot of companies.
We're not the people that are going to tell you how to do it.
There are a lot of companies out there that are specifically drop shipping companies. They want to find sellers to partner with, and that is perfectly fine to do because that company knows that they are doing it for you as a seller. And that's a totally different thing. But it's, again, not something that we do, so we can't really teach and provide any information about it.
Doker, 70-year-old male Canadian here. I watch with you ladies too and learn much more than just reselling. Life with you is so interesting.
Oh, thank you.
That's
for
really sweet.
Thank you for telling us that.
And you upped our age demographic. Thanks.
Yay. We like everybody. Anyway, so we went sourcing on Thursday. It was the first time. So before my accident, my kind of routine is that I like to go one day a week. Generally it'd be Thursdays because of the 25% off sale on at Savers. I can't handle going on 50% off day. So Thursdays were a good day for me. And I like to go to all the Savers and a lot of times to Buffalo Exchange. Haven't done that in the last 2 months.
Nope. Finally,
this Thursday, I'm like, I'm getting back into the game. I'm going for a whole day of thrifting. She wanted to go with me. She needed to get some stuff too. So we went out, we hit all six Savers, and we went to Buffalo Exchange. And while I was at Buffalo Exchange, you actually popped over to, did you tell Dana? Should I not be saying this out loud?
I went to Martin's Mart.
There's a thrift store that Dana loves. You went over there.
It's only open so sporadically and for such small amount of hours that it's like so hit or miss.
I don't even know how they stay in business because it's like their
people
hours
that work there are volunteer.
Their hours are like
nothing in the store costs more than $2,
and everything is literally. It's like, oh, here's my bag of stuff I got for $3.
Yeah, I did. I got a whole bag of stuff for $3.
I don't even understand.
And see, I told her already.
Yeah, I don't even understand. Okay, so we got a lot of really good stuff. I think. I know I did.
Yeah, you got way better stuff than I did, but I have some real good bread and butter.
Yeah, I hit it big, and I found some really cool stuff at Buffalo Exchange. And I talked about this a little bit on the sourcing video. I'm going to try something, and I'm going to keep you guys updated on how it goes. So Buffalo Exchange, you can take stuff in there and sell it. And the way it works is I think if you take it in to sell for cash, they give you like 30% of what they sell it for. So if they're going to sell something for $20, they're going to give you cash 30% of that $20 of what they're going to sell it for. So actually, that's not that bad because their prices are a little bit higher. But if you want to get just credit in the store, it's 50%. So that's like really good. So if it's something that you don't really want to sell online, you can do that. So what I'm looking at doing is I've already gotten a few things when I was outsourcing, stuff that was like not high enough value for me to want to flip it. But I thought maybe they would be interested in it. So I'm going to go this next week. I'm going to take a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of hats that fell off of my listings a while back that I don't want to have to go rephotograph and relist. So I'm going to take in a bunch of stuff next week, and I'm going to see if it's worth doing that to exchange stuff for credit and then buy stuff that I want to sell. So Marianne Schneider just busted out she busted out a $5 super chat. We thank you a lot, Marianne. Maybe I'll do a little bit of super chat. She's super chatty. Yow. Ooh, I got her. For anyone who's new to the show, you can pay me to harass Victoria. So just so you know.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. Oh yeah, Sheila says we went to Buffalo Exchange in Georgia, but everything was so high priced.
It is high priced. But again, you have to spend money to make money sometimes. You're not going to find 99-cent deals at Buffalo Exchange. Yeah. But you can buy something for $10, $20, even $30 and flip it for $100.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to spend money knowing that it's maybe more of a long tail, higher value item, then you can definitely find stuff. I only bought 3 things. She was in there a lot longer than I was. So I only bought 3 things, but I could have definitely found more.
For somebody like me, the type of stuff that I like to thrift, if I go all day to like all the different Savers, I'll find some really cool stuff here and there, but it's taking me all day. I can go into a Buffalo Exchange in an hour, get a whole bunch of stuff. And so I am going to be paying up for it, but it's a matter of like knowing what the value is of things and what you can resell it for. And so it's kind of one of those places that you're going to want to start sourcing once you have a better base of knowledge of what things are worth. If you're going there just to buy for yourself, the prices are great. Like, yeah, a t-shirt might be $14 for a used t-shirt, but you know, you're looking at what I'm selling them for online. You know, if you're just collecting cool vintage t-shirts, going in there and buying one for $14 is a pretty good deal.
Right.
So
a lot of questions in here. We've got to get to the haul video, but let me answer just a couple more here. Have we ever sourced at Plato's Closet? The answer to that is we've both been. I don't like it. It's a bunch of teeny bopper, Hurley, Abercrombie, overpriced mall brands. I don't. That's not good for me for reselling. That's how I feel about Plato's Closet.
Buffalo Exchange is jam-packed with awesome vintage
tons
stuff.
Of vintage.
The only thing keeping you from picking up everything there is going to be the prices. But they, at the beginning of every month, they put sale tags on stuff, and everything is 25% off. And then halfway through the month, all of those sale tags go to 50% off, and then they get rid of it at the end of the month. So there are deals to be had. But Plato's Closet, a lot of current trendy stuff that pretty much has no resale value, except for shoes. Sometimes you can find good shoes there. So.
The $3, we're going to keep that little thrift to ourselves. I normally don't do that, but it's a very small store. So Dana was nice enough to share the name with me, and I found a couple of hits there before. So I'm going to kind of keep that little one to myself.
I will say, just to be fair,
it literally only has like 3 racks.
It's not really the kind of thrift store that you want to go out of your way to go to. It's one of those ones that if you live locally and you pop in there every once in a while, sometimes you're going to find something really cool. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't find a ton of stuff, but what I did find was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I personally don't even bother going in because for me, I'm like, I'm never going to find anything decent. So if she wants to look, she can.
Yeah, Marla, you were real lucky to get that at Plato's Closet, and we have both sourced from Nordstrom Rack before here and there. So yes,
I like to buy Vans at Nordstrom Rack.
And our Goodwill bins here are pretty terrible. So neither one of us really sourced the bins here. And I know, and I see so many people on Instagram and on YouTube that are killing it at the bins. That is not the case for the bins here.
Yeah. I went to the bins a lot in Oregon, and even all the way up to when I moved here, I would go there for the first like 45 minutes of my sourcing day. But I wouldn't stay there all day because I just wouldn't get enough good stuff. But every once in a while, I'd find some really cool things. We're actually going to go to the Goodwill bins when we're in Oregon because I want to take her to my bins.
One that is actually
my bins. And we're also going to go to a regular Goodwill because I want her to see what Oregon Goodwill looks like because it's very drastically different from the Goodwills here. I don't go to the Goodwills here. So, and we're going to go to Valley Village, which is Sabres in Oregon. We're going to take my mom with me, guys. So that sourcing video should be a lot of fun because my mom is ridiculous. Combine my mom with my sister and me, crazy town. All right, should we go ahead?
Yes.
All right, you want to start?
No, you can start.
You just like pulled some stuff into your lap for the heck of it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with some pretty basic stuff. I almost never, ever thrift shoes, but I was looking at one of the Sabres behind, I think I mentioned this in the video, the sourcing video. There was some, I always like asked to look at like the interesting looking Vans. So these are Vans. They're used, but they're in pretty good condition. I just need to like clean them up a little bit on the soles, but there's this really cool pattern. So these particular ones, they were $25, but it was 25% off. It's a good size, 10.5 men's. These ones are, if you look at the bottom, it says material woven in Italy. Now, when you look up that, you know, I couldn't find this exact shoe. Some of those shoes do well, some don't. I didn't find these exact ones. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know what I would call this. I mean, it's sort of kind of like Southwestern, but it's hard to say. I don't know if you guys have like any suggestions of what you would call this. I mean, this kind of makes me think of like Southwestern, kind of Aztec, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I'll be able to sell these for.
They also kind of remind me of the villages in Italy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Give me some suggestions for keywords, guys.
Abstract.
I think they're super cool. I think I can sell these for about $60. There aren't any other ones like that. So,
speaking of Vans, Dana grabbed a pair last week, these little nothing special looking Vans with Winnie the Pooh, and she sold them for over $120.
Really? I didn't know. When she sell them?
Today.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What? They're super tiny too, weren't they?
Yeah, and they were not even like a huge size. They were like a size 6 or 7.
Yeah, they're real tiny. Mm-hmm. That is awesome.
So this is one of the things that I picked up.
You're just like moving on?
Yeah, I am. Listen.
You're like, you get one thing. You get to show one thing, then we're moving on. Okay.
So I got a vintage Peruvian alpaca wool sweater from that super secret little thrift store that we went to. I paid $1. And again, this type of thing, Peruvian wool, anything with like the llamas on it, that kind of thing, paid $1. I'm going to sell this for at least 75, maybe 100. What? So that was kind of a cool, cool find.
Angie, these are men's size 10, so they're like a 12 women's. Definitely not your size.
Yeah, no, Katie has huge feet. They won't even fit her.
No, I wear 8.5 men's. So
we've got another UK reseller watching us there,
hey,
Jamie.
What's up with the UK?
So I picked this up at Savers. It was a little pricey. I paid up a little bit for it. It was $14.99. I got 25% off of that. It's by it's called Brannigan Weavers. So it's an Irish cable knit type of. It's a jacket though, not a sweater.
That is awesome.
With a toggle front. I think I'm going to sell this for about 100 as well.
Now, are the toggle fronts, is that like still super popular?
I don't know if it's more of a.
That's also called. Isn't it also called duffel? And I believe it's called those. People will say that's like a duffel jacket too, like those that toggle buttons, whatever.
I've never heard duffel jacket before.
Look it up. Look it up, guys.
Okay.
Anyway, but I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I paid, whatever, $11 and change for that.
Pam wants to know what size that alpaca sweater is. Do you know?
What size? The alpaca sweater?
Yeah.
Oh, who wants to know? It is.
Or no, wait, was she talking about the llama? I don't know. Which one is she talking about? She says the llama sweater. Is she talking about that one? Or the Peruvian?
Peruvian llama, same thing. Actually, there is no size tag on it, but I'm going to call this could either be men's or women's. That's the thing about these. They're pretty unisex. I think it's going to be a large. I haven't measured it yet.
Yeah. But
it looks like it would be a large.
Llama. Now Mo wants to know what size. I don't know if she's talking about the the toggle jacket.
The toggle jacket is on the small side. I would say it's a women's medium. Although, Mo, that would fit you. I just saw that she was wearing a David Bowie shirt that she hadn't worn that she bought 15 years ago, size medium. So
nice.
Go girl.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
Mo wants to know.
Yep.
Okay, so one other thing that I didn't even recognize until I looked at my pictures, and Dana had taken pictures, but I had picked up this vintage
well, you knew it was polo.
Yeah, I knew it was Polo Love with Ralph Lauren because of the zipper and the crest.
Mm-hmm.
So Polo, Ralph Lauren, Harrington.
But you thought it was missing the tag.
No, I didn't think it was missing a tag.
Remember, because that's why you didn't know it was it.
No,
it had no tag. You just thought it had no tag.
I didn't look at the tag. I actually bought it.
Okay. I thought it was missing a tag.
Sorry. In my head.
Sorry.
I just thought it was a basic Harrington jacket. I paid $5 for it or so, and I didn't think much of it. I saw that it was plaid lined, but Dana took pictures of it, and it's reversible.
Yeah. Way to go, Dana. You're fired.
Why is she fired?
I don't know, because she didn't say it was reversible.
Yes, she did.
Oh, she saw it was reversible.
Oh, my Lord. Just stop talking. She is the one that told me it was reversible because I looked at the pictures.
Dana, you're rehired.
So yes, this is very
I love it.
Very rockabilly style, but I didn't realize it was reversible. So until Dana took the pictures of it. Fired. She should get a raise. Girl, you don't list anymore. You kept that raise. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to get instead of selling it for 50, I think I'm going to sell it for about 75. And it is a vintage polo. So it's not super vintage, but like 90s. That's the 90s polo 90s. Tag. Polo Ralph Lauren. And tags inside the pocket. Generally speaking, when you find something that's reversible, look for the tags inside the pockets.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're going to find them.
Yes, so Jody was suggesting make sure the first photo is plaid side or half and half. Little tip that I like to do sometimes on reversible stuff like that is I will actually use, there's an Instagram like collage app You know, I think you have it, and so do I. It works really well for basically you do a collage of 2 pictures, and I will do it with a jacket that's reversible. I'll show it where it's like half one side and half the other, and it actually makes for a really cool picture.
To answer your question, Board Up, we have 2 separate stores. We are 2 separate entities, and I have a part-time assistant. She's actually in the chat under House of Rocks. Her name is Dana. She works and takes pictures for me for 4 hours a week.
Yeah, so not really like
and cross posts to some of my vintage listings to Etsy a few hours a week.
Yeah,
that's it.
So about the closest you can get to having somebody working for you. Not really, but sort of, but not really.
Right. So no, we don't hire people. She doesn't have anybody that works for her, and Dana is down to working just a few hours a week for me. So
yep. All right.
Everything else.
Do I get to show something now?
Yes, your turn.
Do I get a chance?
You
now?
do.
That chili smells good. All right. Let's show some cool sweatshirts. So you know, you find when you any particular place that you live where you do your sourcing, you're going to find a lot of the same stuff when it comes to like sportsing teams. Like here we find a lot of 49ers, a lot of, I don't know, like Chargers, stuff like that. You know, the teams that are like close by. When we were in Phoenix, it was all about like the Phoenix Suns and stuff like that. So I'm always excited when I find cool sweatshirts and jackets for teams that we don't see here a lot. So this one, Texas Tech, what is this? Red Raiders. Anyway, so Texas, this is the first time I picked something up for Texas Tech, so I think this is a pretty cool sweatshirt. I don't know what their stuff sells for, but this is vintage 90s. I love, you know, sweatshirts are super popular when it comes to vintage streetwear and sportswear. Sweatshirts probably sell better than t-shirts when it comes to that. And so I think this is super awesome. I could probably sell this. I could see this selling on Etsy for $47.99 because that's like one of my price points. Very, very cool sweatshirt. It's got the 90s jerseys tag in there. So I was pretty stoked about that. Woohoo! And then kind of along the same vein, stuff I don't find a whole lot is this awesome Montreal NHL hockey sweatshirt. Check it out. I love it. I think this is awesome. You know, this is a tag I have not seen before, but when it comes to 80s and 90s, like vintage tags, you have your basic stuff like jerseys, Fruit of the Loom, Hanes, Screen Stars, and then you have like a bazillion little labels that you're just never going to be able to like remember all of them. But the great thing about sports stuff is a lot of times they have dates on them. So you look at a tag, you see the USA, and then you check it out, and down here, and it actually says NHL 93. Sports stuff is a great way to learn tags for t-shirts and sweatshirts because a lot of times the dates are right in the graphics.
Because it's some kind of sportsing event.
Well, and also just because, I mean, this isn't a sportsing event, but it's just because just a lot of times the copyright stuff is dated. Anyway, next thing I have is I love finding cool like television show and movie memorabilia, stuff like that. So I thought this was pretty awesome. This is a kind of like a sort of like a cafe racer style jacket, just like a little windbreaker jacket. But this is the Conjuring 2. Check it out. The Crooked Man. Now, I would guess here in Vegas, we tend to have like, you find a lot more stuff that's like crew related because there's a lot of people that live here in Vegas who actually work on like movie sets and television sets and stuff like that. So you'll find a lot of that kind of stuff here. And the other reason why I would say this is probably for like the crew is because the date on it is 2015. This movie actually came out in 2016, but 2015 would have been when they were filming it and when they were actually working on the set. So I think this is super awesome. Haven't done any research on it. I have no idea if there's any comps for this, but I love this kind of stuff and I love horror movies. So there you go. There you go. What's the question here?
Check if it's a sports logo too.
A throwback
one. If they've changed the logo.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, I look at that kind of stuff. All right, here's another one, another movie thing. Now, this is from 2017, but so this is not vintage, but this is one of my favorite movies, Alien, 1979. Haven't done any research on this. I mean, it's cool. It's got the spell out Alien on down the side. It says it's the tagline in space. No one can hear you scream. This is actually
creepy.
Yep. This is actually, I believe this is an H&M
divided.
Tag.
Yeah,
divided.
H&M is divided.
So this was sold at H&M. Now, H&M, does it have like a big resale value to it generally? No, not necessarily.
Depends on the collections.
Depends on what it is.
Sometimes their collections that they do as collabs,
yeah,
have some good resale.
But you see, this also has the 20th Century Fox logo on it. I don't know. I haven't done research on this. This could have been a limited release that they did for like some sort. I have no idea. And people, there's fanatics out there. Fanatics out there in horror movies like myself. Haven't looked it up yet, but it's very possible this could sell for a lot. If it sells for nothing, you know what? I'm gonna keep it for myself.
All right. I think that person had cats. Get it away from me. I can always tell. I have a fur ball.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna show one more thing, and then we'll go to you. Okay. One more hoodie. Now this is funny because I think it was last week's show. Somebody in the chat was asking about a bathing ape, otherwise known as BAPE, and we were talking about how it's something that is faked a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think I actually said, if you find BAPE in the thrift store, high chance it's going to be fake. Mm-hmm. So you have to be really, really careful when you try to resell this kind of stuff. And weird, what happens this week? I find a freaking BAPE item. Look at this. So this is a hoodie. It's pretty cool. It's got spelled out on both sides, a bathing ape. And so bathing ape, also called BAPE, this is a company that started in the early mid-90s. It's super popular streetwear. BAPE and Supreme are the two brands that probably are the most well-known as far as stuff where it's like they'll put out t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and stuff like that that will sell for hundreds of dollars. It's ridiculous. They're huge in the streetwear community. It's got on the back this really cool Target thing going on. So I don't know. Do I know enough about BAPE to be able to decide if it's real or not?
I think because you were able to find that exact one somewhere, I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah, a couple things. I was able to find the exact one. I did some research. This is a legit tag of theirs. So I was able to find this tag on some of their stuff. A couple of things on the sleeve. Their stuff will have on the sleeve, it will have this little tag on it. On the inside, it's got like a little, sort of like almost like a hologram thing, but it's like this little sparkly ape thing. And then the other thing is that it actually is a really nice, heavy, high quality hoodie. It doesn't feel cheap, which a lot of times if something's fake, it's going to be super cheap. If you've ever found like fake Tommy stuff, it's just crap. But I also did share this in a couple of streetwear Facebook groups, and I was able to get feedback from a couple of guys who actually know their stuff, who said it definitely looks legit to them. So this puppy right here, I'm going to sell for at least a couple $100s. It's a hoodie. I don't know. I'll probably list it for like $300 best offer. I already have a couple of guys from that streetwear group like sending me messages wanting to know what my price is, so I might sell it before I even list it.
No fees.
Yeah, exactly. No fees. But yeah, very cool. I love it. Anyway, your turn.
Find. Mm-hmm. So again, speaking of certain types of designers, this is not a it is a super high-end designer, but this particular jacket is not a super high-end jacket, unfortunately. I did pay about $7 for this. It is a Helmut Lang, and it is a women's, it's a color block, kind of a bomber jacket type thing. It's a stretch bomber jacket. I'll probably sell it for about 50 or 60. There are certain Helmut Lang jackets that will sell for the hundreds because they're retailed a few $1,000s. This particular one I've seen listed a couple of times, and both times it actually sold for like 50, 60 bucks. So I think that's nice. Where I'm going to end up putting it. So it's not super high end, but I wish it were nice. Wish it were nicer or bigger.
By the way, that BAPE hoodie, it was priced at $11.99, so I probably paid maybe like $9 because I had 25% off. But I took the chance because I could tell just by looking at it that it was a good quality item. I just wasn't entirely sure that it was legit. Mm-hmm. So $9 for a legit BAPE piece is pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Yep.
And hey, David's joining us. I haven't seen you in a little bit.
What's up, David?
Okay, so this one made me laugh. It wasn't super expensive. They had it in the men's department, but it's definitely a women's shirt. My 80s girls will recognize this. They have it listed as a size 40, but it's vintage Gitano. 80s Gitano. Do you remember wearing these really loud long tunic type length shirts.
And they come to look at little.
And then it's got a little tail in the back.
Did you tie these off at all?
Sometimes you would tie them off, sometimes not. But usually you'd wear this with like a pair of stirrup pants, or maybe if you were lucky, a pair of like stirrup acid wash stretch jeans. Yeah. So I paid $5 for this. It's not a huge amount of money. That I'm probably going to sell this for, I don't know, 40, 50, maybe more if it sells on Etsy. But I just think this is just the coolest little pattern.
Yeah. Board Up, 90% of the stuff that I source, I get from Savers. We have 6 of them here. We're really, really lucky here in this area. But yeah, that's where I get most of my stuff. And then otherwise I'll do some private buys. You really like the estate sales and garage sales because you do a lot of hard goods, but yep.
And again, what else did I pick up? I picked
up fancy looking.
Yep, this one was pretty good. This was $2.50, but this is a vintage 80s or 90s Western shirt with a cool vintage print on it, very Aztec looking print. Again, Southwestern type of print, and Western wear in general is really big. It's big in the rockabilly community. It's big in the hipster community. It's just, it's very popular right now. And that whole Western Aztec type of print, no matter what it's on, is hot again. This was hot in the 90s. It's hot again. So this was like $2.50.
Nice.
I'll probably sell this for 40 or 50 as well.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. As far as Sunshine, when you were asked, do you tell the staff of the thrift stores or retail stores that you were resellers? I mean, usually we don't get asked, but I volunteer that information all the time. I go to the same stores every single week and I buy massive quantities. So, I mean,
they kind of know.
And nobody, who cares?
If they ask, yes. I say it all the time.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. So
yeah, I tell people all the time if they ask. There's
more often than not, people are going to think it's cool, and then they'll also want to help you. And so you'll end up having people offering you cool stuff, giving you ideas for other stuff.
I have several people at my Savers that I go to, the certain Savers that I go to that I know, staff members, and they will not necessarily put things aside for me, but when things don't have a tag, which happens a lot, people rip tags off. If it doesn't have a tag on it, doesn't have a price on it, the policy is they're not supposed to sell it to you until it's repriced by a manager or whatever. I will generally bring something up when I've got 80 other items and they just give me a price on it, and I know it is always going to be much lower than it would have been on the rack.
Yeah,
they'll price something at $3.99 or $4.99 that I know probably would have had a $15 price on it before. Because I'm buying so many other things, they just always give me a deal.
Oh, poor Cheryl had a 90-year-old woman tell her to update her wardrobe. That's pretty funny.
Oh my God.
That's pretty funny. All
right. So this I picked up at Buffalo Exchange. I actually paid a little bit for it. I paid $16 for it, but we've talked about this designer before. It's Cliff Engel. It's ENGEL.
So what is that? Probably
GLE.
This was probably 90s.
This is a sweatshirt, Cliff Engel sweatshirt. Yeah, it's from the 90s. I paid $16 for it, but Cliff Engel did a lot of the vintage stuff. So I think I'm probably going to sell this for about $60 to $75.
Yeah, I think we should go to Naked City Pizza, and you can wear that. Isn't that where they're?
Yeah, that's the Bills. That's the local, local Bills.
And then when people freak out, be like, "Oh, you like this? I could sell it to you for $100.
I'll wear something under it."
See, there you go. That's
Smart.
what you should start doing. Yeah, Cheryl's going to be a kick-ass 90-year-old. Man, I think I'm going to be pretty cool because I'm going to be 90 and I'm going to be wearing my Misfits hat.
Oh, and, Emily, I am actually, in reference to the 90-year-old woman who just got a modeling contract, I'm going to be talking about something. Her name's Iris Appel. I'll be talking about her in a little bit, actually.
Oh, really? Really? Shelly, Thursdays at Savers is always 25% off for anybody who is a club member, but that really just means anybody because they just want you to give them your phone number and stuff so they can make a little account. But it's great. So I always go on Thursdays. I get 25% off, so I don't need to use any coupons or anything like that. Everything's just 25% off. And then you get points. So on the days when you do go, if it's not a day that there's a special sale, you can use those points to get 20% off. So,
or donate something.
But generally, or donate something, get a coupon. But generally, I like to go on Thursdays because of the sale. It just makes it easier. So whatever. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Miss
I'll be
Florida
quite happy
Sunshine.
to be a 90-year-old because I will be a 90-year-old that I may cut my hair shorter like most older people do, but I will definitely have funky hair. So.
Miss Florida Sunshine, I've had backlash at some retail stores. It's a little bit different with retail stores. I know like Target has a real issue with resellers coming and buying up a whole bunch, like multiples of a certain product. And to a certain degree, I kind of get it because sometimes when they have special releases, like limited releases of certain items, like was it Lily? Is it Lily Pulitzer? They had like a few years back, they had this special thing where it was a special collab with Lily Pulitzer, and a bunch of resellers like basically bought up everything, and it was all sold out in like a day, and then immediately it was coming up on eBay and stuff like that for tons and tons of money. And so it just kind of sucked for them because it was supposed to be this thing to draw customers into the store. And so that I can get, like that I understand, like why they might not want to deal with resellers. So that's just my thought. Okay.
Enrique asked, if I have a long item, can I use 2 poly bags to send it cubic? Yeah, you can, as long as it fits within the cubic measurements.
Yeah. Miss Florida Sunshine, now Ross or TJ Maxx, I think that's ridiculous if they care, because they're literally clearance stores. So why they would care if somebody's buying a bunch of stuff? It might just be people who don't like that they have to like take security tags off of a whole bunch of things.
I have to tell you, I think Ross is actually, the Ross is here anyway. I've never been to anywhere else because it doesn't exist on the East Coast. But Ross in general has some of the angriest people I've ever met that work there. Like between the cashiers, the security guards that follow you around and greet you as if you're a criminal the second you walk in, every single person breathing down your neck, talking to you every 30 feet. I don't know if they are just inundated with thieves, but it makes me pissed off the second I walk in. I can't stand shopping at Ross because of that. If you don't get off my ass, I am not spending money.
I do think they have a lot of stuff there, but hey, what's up, Sonny? You made it. Good to see you. So I don't know if you guys have watched the video that I put up this morning from our sourcing on Thursday, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to make you wait till the very end. I'm going to go ahead and show you the items that I found that made her go, ah! And then she literally did call me a whore, which I don't really know. Like, if you're calling me a whore, what does that say about you? Because
I don't know.
Have you been paying me? Where's my money? Where's my damn money?
Put it on my tab.
Anyway, she got a little mad. I'm going to show you what I found. I found 3 items. I'm going to show you what I found first, and then I'll take you on a little journey.
So yeah, okay, Ross may be on the East Coast. It's not in the Northeast. Let me say that. Yeah, New England. They're not in New England, New Jersey, New York area.
So when we go into,
or they weren't when I left.
Yeah. So when we go into a Savers, the first thing I do is I go and look at jackets. So we went to this particular Savers. The first thing I found was an awesome military Gore-Tex jacket. If you saw the video, it does sell for probably about $150. So first I found that, and it was like $8 plus 25% off. So that was the first thing I found. And then I can see this particular material from a mile away. If you are somebody who has been thrifting and knows anything about Pendleton, you recognize a Pendleton plaid from across the room because it's very distinctive. It's very different from any other brand. So I saw in the jackets, I saw this bad boy right here. Now this is actually the 3rd thing I showed Vicki in the video, but you can see this tag right here. It's definitely 60s or later because it has the Woolmark mark, which started in the early 60s. I would say this is probably from the 60s. Now this is the one that Vicki said is not worth a lot because I think,
until I got closer to it, I thought it was a blazer.
She thought it was a blazer. It's actually not a blazer. This is what it's usually called, like a smoking jacket or like a lounge jacket. Sorry, I'm not trying to put it in your face. I'm just trying to make it clear what it is. So it kind of looks like a blazer, but you see it's got like this extra pocket up high here. And it's actually like 3 buttons.
Like I thought it was a blazer. Blazers in general, Pendleton blazers don't sell very well, men's or women's, especially women's. Women's are just, don't even buy them. They're not even worth selling.
Some men's might, if it has like the leather elbows, it's a really cool one.
Right.
But one like this wouldn't necessarily. But this is like a smoking jacket. And this will easily sell for over $100, especially because of the kind of plaid it is, which the name of it I actually have. Hold on a second, and I'll tell you real quick. Because it's like a tartan plaid, but this one specific one,
Black Watch,
is called, indeed, Authentic Black Watch Tartan. So this particular kind of tartan plaid.
Allison said that before you said it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But I knew that anyway. But
anyway, it is Black Watch. So this should sell for minimum $100. It should go for over $100.
That was technically what made me call her a whore, I believe.
No, it's not. It was the other ones. Because I showed you this 3rd. I remember these details. You want Vicky's memory? You want my memory, because I know the details when it comes to arguing things out. So I saw this. Then I'm walking down the aisle, and on the other side of the jackets, there's a rack that holds like long jackets and
bathrobes.
And I
which is usually good territory for me, because I buy a lot of bathrobes, and that's not part of the men's department that I'm not allowed to go into. I
do not generally buy bathrobes, but I will give it a little eyeball real quick, because the one thing I will buy is Pendleton bathrobes. I've sold them. I tend to sell them overseas. I sold one that was full of holes that I got at the bins. I sold it to somebody in Korea for like $100 last year. But the first one I actually saw was this one. This beauty right here.
McLean plaid.
Yep. And it actually says it on the tag right here. You can see right here. So this particular tag, so the other one is probably 60s. This one made in the USA. I would say this is probably 90s. It could be 80s, 80s, 90s. So it's a little bit newer. It's a really nice full-length robe. This particular one does have a few moth holes down near the bottom, but it shouldn't affect the resellability too bad. Definitely will sell for over $100. Then, oh, I'm not done yet, bitches. Then, wait, that's the wrong one.
Good.
Then, again, this one, it actually has the tag on it where it says what kind of plaid.
Yes, Karen, this was the jaw dropper. Because I buy bathrobes all the time.
As Allison said, authentic black watch tartan. And this robe, so this robe and the smoking jacket both are in perfect condition, no holes.
Yeah, drummer.
No issues.
3. Same store, 3.
And what's funny is I saw that red one and I'm like, that's Pendleton too. And I went and grabbed it. And I literally thought in my head, I need to carefully look through here because there might be more. And that's when I saw this one. And this one's in perfect condition. So again, between the 3 of these, I should be able to make
$100 each on all 3.
Close to $400 on all 3 of them together.
That was why I was telling her I hate her. I was saying all kinds of, because the bathrobe section is generally my area.
See, she's never going to let this die. No, I'm sorry. I don't give up. I will give up most stuff if it's something that I don't normally sell. Like I will find, what are the Hawaiian shirts?
Cheryl says car accident can't separate them.
If I find
a Pendleton robe does.
If I will go and look in like the Hawaiian shirt section, and I will like look for bark cloth, which can sell for up to $100 depending on what the shirt is. And if I find one of those, I'll give it to her. But Pendleton, I love me some Pendleton. I'm from Oregon, you guys. I'm from Oregon. Come on, I can't let go of Pendleton. I love it. Anyway, it's a beauty. Oh, and here's a little tip: if you're ever looking at like a wool shirt, whether it's a Pendleton or whatever, and you want to check for holes, just hold it up like towards the light. And that's like if you're in a store, like hold it up towards the light, and it's really easy to spot a hole because it'll come through. It's hard to see it sometimes with the pattern. So
it's true.
Yeah.
No, she got really lucky. Honestly, I am happy for her because I'm glad she got him and not somebody else. So
they were all like $8 or $9, and then 25% off of that. So
see, drummer says my reaction was very understandable. I agree. I think I was justified in being angry.
Ooh, Big Mac just sold a women's Pendleton wool blazer. Impressive. Women's stuff is very hard.
It's real hard to sell. And I can't really sell it for more than like $30 or so. Women's, they just
Yep.
So seriously, for a while.
Pendleton, the smoking jackets, the robes, board shirts specifically, those are like the ones that are really good. Any cardigans, jackets. So yeah.
If you see pink through it, it's Vicky glaring at you. No kidding, Cheryl. Well, I suppose I should jump on the Pendleton bandwagon because the one thing that I did get, which I believe was at the same store, or was it a different store? Different
earlier. You had already bought it. I'll buy her some tacos.
Was I got a vintage Pendleton blanket. What's nice about it, it does have the tag.
Right there.
And this is a vintage one. I believe this one's going to be 60s, 70s, around there.
Yeah, it's the same tag that was on the smoking jacket that I got.
So I paid $7. There's nothing wrong with this. There's no holes, no nothing. And it's a good size blanket. It's not a camp blanket because it's actually, it has, it's got a finished border. The camp blankets look like they were almost like cut straight across with scissors and like there's no finish on the edges. But it's a nice, like a picnic blanket type of thing. It's not a throw. It's bigger than a throw.
Emily calls Pendleton hipster catnip.
Seriously. So I'm pretty excited about this because this blanket will probably sell for about $200. Every Pendleton blanket I've ever purchased sells for at least that. And I haven't found very many. I've only found 2 or 3 over the many years I've been doing this, but everyone sells very well. This one, I cannot find this particular pattern or anything like this anywhere.
Yeah.
So not in Solds, not online. I've got to do a little bit more research. I'm going to have to try to look maybe Worth Point and things like that. But I have not been able to find anything like it yet. Most of the ones that you see have fringe. It's not a camp blanket. It's a throw and it has the fringe on the edge, and there's no fringe on this.
So. Big Mac says she sold the blazer for $30 plus $12.95 shipping. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's about right.
With men's, the good Pendleton stuff that people want, like the men's stuff, it's going to be upward of 100 plus, depending on what it is. Especially the stuff that has like Southwestern prints on it, like the blankets and the jackets and stuff like that. It is insane the money you can get from those.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, so I'm from Oregon. When I was in Oregon, I would find Pendleton stuff all the time. Obviously, because it's like I'm in the Pacific Northwest, that's where Pendleton comes from, and plus just the weather makes more sense. Here in Vegas, it's very rare to actually find Pendleton stuff at all. I have found a couple of board shirts here, and then these robes, and then you found a couple of blankets. But overall, it just doesn't happen very often here in Vegas. So,
yep. See, Big Mac sold one for $35. Yeah, that's pretty close. You know, women's blazers, men's blazers, the most you're going to get for them as far as Pendleton's in the $30, $35 range. That's
going to take a while.
And it's going to take a bit. So I don't get excited about that. $30, $35 is, good bread and butter type of thing, but they take a long time to sell and they don't sell for much. So definitely blankets, robes, and shirts, and the flannel shirts are what you want.
Emily said that when she went to Portland with her daughter, the thrift stores have Pendleton shirts priced pretty high. Yeah, they'll price everything. Anything Pendleton, they'll price pretty high. And some stuff, like there's like regular Pendleton wool shirts, like the Sir Pendleton, stuff like that. Like they'll have them priced too high they'll be like $15, and you're just like, I'm just gonna leave that behind.
Good call.
But if it's a board shirt, $15, $20 for a board shirt with no holes, I'll pay that all day long.
Wendy said, Julie said, Twitter them and they will identify it. Okay, cool. I will do that.
Very, very cool. Yeah, that's true. You can totally contact them. They're into it.
Okay, so I'm going to do a few more things. We've probably at least, you want me just to blow through my last 5 things?
Sure. And then I've just got t-shirts after this. I've got some really cool t-shirts I found.
So I picked this up for about $3.50 the other day. I don't normally pick up every type of button-down shirt, but I thought this was a really cool Nightmare Before Christmas. It has it looks like it would be a Dragonfly brand shirt, but it's not. It's a Nightmare Before Christmas brand, and it has all little dudes on the arms, and it's a good size. So I picked this up. I love it. It's got Oogie Boogie on it. It's got the whole bear. It's got the whole thing. So I'm going to sell this for probably about $50.
So somebody whose name I cannot pronounce wants to know, if you create an account, can you start selling right away? Yes and no. So there's limits to if you create a new eBay account, there's a lot of times it's like a 10 item limit. Sometimes it just depends. I've heard of people opening a new account and getting 100 items, but usually it's a really low limit. And there also are some issues where, because they're on the lookout for people trying to rip people off and scamming people, if you open a new account and immediately list super high dollar, high problematic items, like let's say you open a new account and all you list is a bunch of iPhones for $1,000 each. I've heard of people getting their accounts pretty much immediately suspended because they think that it's, there's something fishy going on. So, I mean, for somebody who wants to just start out, it's like, start with your 10 items and have it be stuff from around your house that's not going to be flagged as potential scammy McScammers and stuff.
So Junk Jones, I don't really have any hard goods today, unfortunately. The only thing that I really picked up was at an estate sale. I did show it on Instagram last week. It just weighs a bazillion pounds. I picked up a vintage Commodore computer and all of the accessories that go with it from 1984. I paid $74 for it when all $75, not 74, $75 for it. But when all the parts are spread out and listed, I expect to make about $500 to $600 off that.
Well, then you actually ordered a cord for it too.
I actually ordered a cord for the monitor. I was able to get a cord for the monitor for $13. It didn't come with one, and without testing, it'll sell for about $150. If I test it and it works, it could sell for closer to $300. So.
Especially if it turns out it's color or something.
It is color. It's supposed to be color. So that I believe it's the first color monitor that was ever made. So it will sell really well. So it was well worth investing in the cord to see if it works.
Yeah.
And I can always return the cord if it doesn't, but I mean, for $13, it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. Okay, so I paid up a little bit again. I paid $18 for these.
Real quick, you're parting that all out, right? Or are you planning on selling it?
I'm parting it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each piece individually. There's a dot matrix printer. There is the computer base, there's the keyboard, and there's the monitor. It's like 4 or 5 different pieces. So it's going to be super heavy because all the pieces are big and bulky, but people that are collectors and gamers and the people that actually buy those things to rebuild or to get in and start playing around the circuit boards and stuff, which is what most people buy them for, they don't mind paying because there are not very many.
Yeah.
Okay, so I bought these at Buffalo Exchange. Again, I paid up a little bit. They were $18. But they are vintage polo jeans women's overalls. And overalls are still a really big seller. And they're selling, you can resell Kmart brand vintage overalls for 40 or 50 bucks. I do all day long. So these actually have the Polo Jeans Company little carpenter thing on the hip. And they're a straight leg. So I'm probably going to sell them for about $75.
Junk Jones, we've done a few shows talking about shipping. Last week's show that I did was all about international shipping. So I don't know if there's something specific you want us to cover as far as shipping goes. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to do a show where we focus on shipping hard goods. I could see that being a show that we could do, that you would kind of take the lead on, since I don't do that. Talking about like the different methods of shipping, as well as I guess how to package stuff, because I'm sure a lot of people get a little bit nervous about the idea of like shipping heavy stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
more about boxing.
We could definitely do that at some point. We could focus a Wednesday show on that, although Katie doesn't do a lot about it. So I mean, she could be hold the camera and be my assistant for some heavy stuff.
Oh yeah, and if we did a Wednesday show, I could just be checking out the questions and stuff. Nate Ricks, the Buffalo Exchange in Vegas is actually on Main Street, so it's like close. It's actually really close to the Crazy Town Savers that's on Charleston. So,
Sunny asked what size of the overalls. The overalls are a size medium. Honestly, if they were a little bit bigger, I probably would have kept them. I'm more of a large at least. But the problem with overalls, I'm really chesty. Overalls do not look good on somebody that has a big chest. They just don't fit properly.
What about when you have the one?
It's not 1992. I can't do the one down. But I love them. I wish they were my size because they're super cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did mention that we were going to talk a little bit about Iris Appel. So Apfel is really how you say her last name, Apfel. She did a collaboration with this brand.
And who is she again?
She is the really old fashionista. She's 90 years old. She's from New York. She lives in New York City. You see her on Instagram a lot, and there are little videos on Facebook about her. She's super cool. And she's gray haired. She's got big glasses. She wears crazy prints, and she's considered a fashion icon.
So Allison says that that Pendleton might be Gordon Tartan.
Can you message me that, Allison? Because I'm not going to remember that.
She can't like write stuff down while we're doing the show.
Anyway, so I actually just saw this jacket. I'm going to stand up for a second, hanging on the rack, and I realized it just looked really interesting to me.
It looks super cool.
So it's kind of like this mixed pattern blanket type of coat with like jacquard and paisley and super nice quality. So I just went and looked up the tag. I did pay up a little bit for it. It was priced at $28. So what I paid around 20 bucks for it. I got 25% off that. And I saw that woman's name and I went, oh, I'm going to look this up. Well, I guess apparently retail, this sells for like $800 or $900. So I was kind of excited about that.
Very cool.
So I'm going to sell this maybe for about $150.
I'm writing that down, Allison. All right, very cool.
So I was kind of excited about this. I did pay up for it a little bit, like I said, but I happily will pay that to get a good return on it. It's a really nice jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen, she's super interesting. She's just this 90-year-old fashion icon. She just doesn't give a shit. She just dresses like these crazy, super fashionable patterns and things like that. She's really awesome.
Yep.
So I love that jacket.
Very, very cool.
I have two more things. So again, this was, I think, in the first Savers that we went to. I picked up a pair of vintage Fry boots. These are Fry, and they are that kind of mottled looking marbled leather. So it's meant to look more worn. And these are in really good shape. I paid 20 bucks for them. I haven't looked up which what they're called yet, what model they are. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to sell for them, but the older the better. So they are probably going to sell for about 125. And then the other pair that I actually didn't pay that much for, I only paid about 12.
Allison says she rocks the haircut you're going to have in a few years.
Probably. I did pick up a pair of, these are $12. These are Ariat.
Like riding boots?
Yeah, riding boots, official type of riding boots. They're the really tall riding boots.
And those are from the thrift store that shall not be named?
No, these are from...
those are from...
These are from Savers.
Okay.
They were from the same Savers, actually. Paid about $12 for these, and these are one of the Ariat type of boots that will sell for about $100 as well. And yeah, Allison, the Fry boots are campus boots, but they're a little bit more of a chunky heel, so they're not quite as...
What is a campus boot?
It's just a style of like a pull-on riding boot type of thing. That's what Fry calls them.
How would you ship those boots, especially with being so tall?
So the Ariat boots fold. So those I would probably fold and then shrink wrap and then poly bag them.
And probably send them cubic.
And send them cubic. And then the Fry boots, maybe the same thing, maybe not. The Fry boots, depending on, because the soles, they have a heel. They have a bit of a chunkier heel. Those I would probably just do a medium flat rate box. I'd fold them over lightly and
very cool. Are you done?
I'm done. That's it. It's what I got.
All right, guys. It's
t-shirt time.
It's t-shirt time. It's t-shirt time. I got some cool t-shirts. Okay, so I got some t-shirts at Buffalo Exchange, quite a few of them actually. Definitely paid up for them. I paid anywhere from $8 to, I think the most I paid for one of the t-shirts was like, well, one of them I paid $19 for. This one I think I paid like $14 for. So I'm definitely gonna have to price it up. It might take a little longer for it to sell. But you know, when I go to some place like Buffalo Exchange, I'm thinking of I want to get a bunch of really, really cool pieces because I have a niche and my store is themed and somebody can come in and come back again and again and again and follow my store. I want to make sure I always have cool stuff coming through it, even if they don't necessarily buy that particular item. It makes it worth coming to and check it out. So this is a 1989 dead stock, new old stock, new with tags, 1989 Final Four t-shirt. It's super cool. It's got, you know, the 4 schools on it: Seton Hall, Michigan, Illinois, and Duke. Just an awesome t-shirt. And
that is cool.
I love finding stuff like this. So I should definitely, I mean, I bought it for $14. I think I should be able to sell it. I probably won't sell it for less than $50. So there's that one. I got a couple of really cool space t-shirts. So this one is Johnson Space Center from Houston, Texas. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. It's super cool.
Single stitch.
Yeah, this one
Very cool.
I think I paid like $11 for this. Now it's a Screen Star. So this Screen Star usually I say is 90s. I've seen this tag on some late 80s stuff. So I'll probably, when I list this, I'll say it's 80s, 90s. But I think it's a super cool like space exploration t-shirt. And man, you saw that that Planetary Moons t-shirt that I just sold for $34. Space stuff sells really, really well. So I love it. I love it. And then the other spacey space one I got is the sweet.
I love that one.
Space Camp, U.S. Space Camp.
Somebody on Goldberg should be wearing that.
Yep, single stitch. Very, very cool. This is an 80s Hanes tag right here. This is an excellent, excellent condition. I love it. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it.
Look at it.
Look at it.
Look at it.
Very, very cool. This is a Super Bowl. Speaking of Super Bowl, Super Bowl 25 New York Giants t-shirt. This one, I mean, if it's been worn, it wasn't worn much. Logo 7, made in the U.S. And what Super Bowl 25? That would be, I think that's in the 80s, isn't it? Sometime in the 80s. Very, very cool t-shirt. This is, I love these Super Bowl ones where it's actually
the Giants
the
weren't in the
champion
Super Bowl that often, so
Well, it's actually a championship t-shirt. So this one should sell. I mean, I think I can sell it for at least $50 or so.
Yeah, the whole NASA logo thing is new, Emily. It's kind of trendy. I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. I'm sure it's something pop culture that I'm not aware of, but it's definitely a trending thing right now. NASA's on a lot of designer t-shirts.
Well, it's very 80s, and so like 80s and 90s stuff is making a comeback, and so I think it's like a throwback thing. So
I kept wondering if it was like a Stranger Things thing, but I've seen all those shows and I didn't think so.
Yeah. I was really excited about this. I love anything that has to do with like any kind of, what was that? Is that Grizz? Grizz is playing with a toy. That was funny. Anything that has to do with like BMX racing or motocross or anything along those lines is really cool. And then of course anything No Fear. This is actually like probably late 80s No Fear t-shirt. Look at how cool this is. This is like your jet ski racing. No Fear, dangerous sports gear.
Sea-Doo racing.
Sea-Doo racing. How awesome is this shirt? No Fear. How sweet is this t-shirt? I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so David said I went for my niece on NASA clothes at Forever 21. Exactly. I've seen it on like Target. Like I don't know what the new thing is with it, but it's a thing.
Yeah, Emily, Neil deGrasse Tyson is like one of the most famous, popular people in the world right now. And it's like, how cool is it that like a freaking scientist is like really super cool in pop culture? So again, with the racing,
Sunny, most of these t-shirts she got at Buffalo Exchange, but a few of them are from Savers.
Yeah, those ones so far, those ones all were I think all of those were Buffalo Exchange, as well as this one. This is a really cool long sleeve t-shirt, and look at the back. It's awesome. This is motocross. And this is actually has to do with, it says Deschutes National Forest Award, Outstanding Achievement. And this has to do with like responsibly using, I guess, trails for riding and stuff like that, because it actually says Forest Service Volunteer, East Fort Rock, Deschutes. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, anything motocross, BMX racing, all that stuff does really, really well.
And DJ, we'd only use the word NASA if the actual word NASA or the logo was somewhere on the article of clothing. She's not going to use NASA in the on the space shirts.
Yeah, no.
Unless it said NASA.
When I list them on Etsy, I probably will in like the keywords, the tags. I might put NASA in there, but yeah, I wouldn't put it on eBay. This is a really awesome dead stock t-shirt. This is we're having a party. This is actually for Texas Special Olympics. There was some event that was apparently sponsored by Light Beer. This is just like a really cool t-shirt. Definitely dead stock, brand new. The tag is,
oh, NASA trend is Elon Musk, Julie said. Okay.
Very cool. Yeah.
I guess that would make sense.
Part of it. I mean, I think just overall, like all of that nerdy stuff is becoming super, super popular. So this t-shirt, I'm trying to remember if I got, I think I got this at a Savers, actually, because I found some really cool t-shirts at some of the different Savers. But this is like an awesome t-shirt. Here is a Savers t-shirt find. Now this, I'm really interested in what I'm going to get for this. I actually got two of these. This is not vintage. This is a Lady Gaga, Las Vegas. She has a residency going right now. I think that started in January, didn't it? And the show is called Enigma. So this is actually, if you look at the tag, this is an official Enigma Lady Gaga t-shirt. Now, when I looked it up, I don't know what the deal is, but there's only one of these listed. There's a bunch of other ones that are listed that are different, slightly different designs. So I don't know if like this is some sort of limited version. The only one that's listed is listed for $125. Has it sold for that? No, it has not. So I don't know, but I got two of these, and we'll see.
I love me some Lady Gaga.
It's a really cool design. We'll see if this, if I'm able to get some good money out of this. But like I said, I got two of them.
Robin and I went to go see her a couple of years ago. It was a blast. Tickets were super expensive, but it was well worth it. If you get a chance to see Lady Gaga in your area, I will say I'm not somebody that knows more than just the hit songs on the radio. I only know a few. But she puts on a fantastic freaking show.
Yeah. Okay, this is another Savers find, and this is, it's not vintage, but this is a Prince tour t-shirt.
It's 2004.
It's 2004. 2004 tour t-shirt. You can see the back here. This t-shirt, you know, with him being gone, and this is, you know, it's 15 years old, so it's not quite vintage, but it's getting there. I probably what, like $100?
75 to 100.
$75 to $100. Very cool t-shirt.
Would have sold better 2 years ago.
Probably. But yeah, super cool t-shirt. All right, I got two more things. I'm going to show you two more shirts that I got from.
We've been going a long time, baby. Just saying.
I only have two more t-shirts.
All right.
They're both from Buffalo Exchange.
All
and
right.
One of them, speaking of, is it worth paying their high prices? Yes, indeed. So this is just a really cool bush beer. This is definitely a well-worn, it's got that nice soft, thin material, but there's no holes. Super awesome bush beer, vintage 80s Hanes t-shirt. Love it, love it, love it. Now, this last one. This t-shirt I paid $19 for at the old Buffalo Exchange, but I'm going to be able to sell this t-shirt for at least $100. I tend to sell my stuff for higher prices, so I might even be able to sell it for $150 on Etsy. This is a Harley Davidson Thunder and Lightning t-shirt. If you just want to go ahead and do a search of Harley Davidson vintage Thunder and Lightning t-shirts, you will see the comps on this. There are identical t-shirts, but different, what are they called? Chapters,
different stores,
whatever out there. I've seen ones that sold in Milwaukee, in Mount Vernon, Illinois, California, different places in California for $100. This particular one is from the San Diego store, but this is a 90s single stitch vintage. This one's, you know, it's got some wear to it, but that's okay. When it comes to Harley and the style, definitely I'll be able to sell this for a minimum of $100, maybe $150. So spending $19 on it, totally worth it. Totally worth it. And that's what I got.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's what I got, guys. So I feel like I made out huge this last week. I found what, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 or 7 items that are going to be $100 plus items to resell.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other stuff that will.
I got like 3 or 4. I got 4 items that are $100 plus.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I think I've said this to her before. If there weren't the 6 savers here, I would have a much harder time sourcing.
We're very fortunate with what we have here for sure.
So if they ever suddenly decide to get rid of all the savers here, which obviously isn't going to happen, we'd have to move to Phoenix. So just so you know. All right. Because they have 7.
Even harder.
They have there. 7 savers there. So anyway, what's going on over there? Who? Oh, she's over here. I'm like, oh, she must be talking to somebody important. No, she's over here looking up her Pendleton blanket because she's done with you guys.
All right, so seriously, we've got to go take our turkey chili and go cross town.
Guys, thank you so much for watching the show. Remember the sourcing video that I just uploaded this morning, the video before that, all about our pull down projection screen we're using for a backdrop, as well as our ring light. That video is up. And super big deal, I'm going to be putting up something probably tomorrow in the Boss Facebook group. Our Wednesday show this week is going to be a special show that's probably going to give a lot of you a lot of anxiety, but we're having Mark from Notre Dame CPA on the show on Wednesday's Boss Up and List show, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're like having anxiety around doing your taxes as a reseller, you should definitely watch that show. You'll be able to, if you watch live, you'll be able to ask him questions, and you can sweat it out with me. Otherwise, we will see you later, and enjoy your sportsing if you plan on watching the Super Bowl. If not,
I'm going to be snuggling the baby. There will be a baby there, my friend's granddaughter, 10 days old. I'm everybody's auntie, and I am very excited to be auntie to Elle. And I'm gonna go.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm gonna go snuggle that newborn baby. I don't care what the hell is on the TV.
If you're somebody who doesn't give a rat's ass about the Super Bowl, this is probably a good time to go out and do your grocery shopping, do some thrift shopping.
I went this morning to get all my stuff.
Yeah, this morning.
It was a bit of a zoo.
No, but if you go during game time, the streets are going to be quiet, guys.
Yes.
So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you later.
Bye.